Hey there, it's Sonia Miller, life coach, speaker, and author, and founder of successforthesoul.com. And I'm back with another Q&A. And this one came out of actually a women's meeting I was at today that apparently was just filled with life and inspiration. So I wanted to bring that energy to you today. This question is, what is the number one thing that blocks people from receiving more of what they want? And so today I thought I would do a little bit of a deep dive about what receiving actually is and is not. And then with that, we'll go into that number one thing that blocks us from receiving more of what we want. So when I think of receiving, I think of it in terms of the small you and the big you. We all have a small you and a big you that's navigating our lives. And so the small you is the you that you see in the mirror and that moves through the world, really engaging with your five physical senses, what you see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. And that looks at the physical world as reality. The big you is the invisible aspect of yourself. It's your inner world. Some people call it soul, higher self. It's that energetic part of you. If you're spiritual, it's the spiritual part of you. But anytime that you're in my orbit, we're going to be talking about the soul. Okay, so that's the part of you that's much bigger than the you that you see in the mirror. So when you're in the small you lens, moving through life in terms of trying to receive more of anything, receive more love, receive more money, receive a house, receive more clients, okay? We are looking at receiving from a very limited point of view. And usually what that limited point of view is that we look at receiving as getting, acquiring, keeping, achieving, arriving. And the thing about this definition of receiving, which is actually incorrect, is that it's stagnant, okay? And when you get or receive in that limited sort of way, then the idea of acquiring things and losing things becomes possible because it's a finite thing. For those of you who tuned into a recent video called How Do I Receive What I Want?, I talked about this exercise that I love to use with my clients, which is I have you imagine, so I'm going to give you that opportunity. Imagine that I wave my magic wand and I say, poof, you have $1 million in the bank. You have it. You got it. You received it. But you cannot touch it, spend it, or circulate it ever. You have it. You've received it, or so you think, but you cannot move it around. You can't touch it. You can't withdraw it. You can't use it. Would you feel abundant? Would you feel prosperous? Chances are good that not only is the answer no, you would actually feel even more frustrated than if you didn't have the money, because you'd always be thinking, I have all this money in the bank, but I can't use it. So your hands are tied, okay? That type of receiving is very limited. It's all about having, and it has a hoarding energy. Now the spiritual self, the big you, okay, understands that what receiving actually is something that you experience. You feel it, you experience it, it moves through you, it flows through you. And I like to say that receiving, the way it truly actually is one now moment at a time for eternity. One of the key things about the big you perspective on receiving is that you cannot receive without releasing. So it moves through you. You receive and release and receive and release. And that receiving and releasing, or that experience that moves through you, okay, is what the big you or the soul self knows to be receiving. So here's an exercise to really drive this home. Okay, I invite you to close your eyes. Now take a deep breath and hold the breath. Can you receive it even more when you're holding it, when you're keeping it? Exhale. Of course you can't. Now breathe again and exhale. Release the breath. Now your lungs are ready to breathe in again and experience the breath. You can open your eyes if they're still closed. So you cannot actually receive more of anything as long as you're holding it. You must release it. Receiving and releasing are two sides of the same coin. All right? So that's the number one block that I see people experience when they want to receive more and they can't. They hold on to what they have, or another way of looking at it is they are really misunderstanding what receiving actually is. So how does this translate to real life? Because releasing or letting go is something that most of us don't like to do. And the truth is that when we are trying to receive more and we are afraid to let it go, it's because we think that in the releasing, we're going to lose something. But you can't lose anything if you're always open to receiving the next thing. It's just a flow. So one of my favorite ways to release, to let go, is actually to give up this idea of letting go, because the small you, the mind, will always perceive letting go as loss. We can't help it. We know that we're supposed to let go if we've learned anything of a conscious spiritual nature, that letting go is the key to everything. But we often experience letting go as loss. Okay, so instead of letting go, I invite you to practice this instead. As you receive and you find yourself wanting more, practice the mantra, let everything be as it is. That also came from another video, and I borrowed that from Adyashanti, a wonderful spiritual teacher. Let everything be as it is. Whenever you want more and you're struggling around it, or you feel like there's lack, just let everything be as it is. Letting everything be as it is the energy of letting go. And that leaves more space for you to perceive what is here for you to receive. One moment at a time for eternity. So I hope this is helpful. And please send in more questions. If you did find this useful, like and share, pass it along. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye.